So this second document that came out is called The Baha'i Question, Cultural Crimson in Iran. Again, it chronicles, person by person, how they put thousands of people in jail, how they tortured and persecuted them in order for them to recant, and how they rounded up these distinguished Baha'is and how they killed them. As I said, I knew a number of them. I have left Iran for more than 35 years, but I had the honor of knowing a number of these individuals. So I'm going to tell you about the few, like maybe about 10% of these individuals that I knew, and show you the photograph of some of them that I have. Well, one of the most distinguished individuals that I knew is, he was Professor Manucher Hakeim, a professor of medicine in University of Tehran, who was quite well known both within Iran and internationally. And he was the kindest man. I knew him quite well. I had met him several times. I'd been to his house and to his office. And he served not only the university in Tehran, but also Bimaristan Misaliye, the Baha'i hospital that was later bombed and destroyed. And so he was the kindest man. They came to his house and they shot him to death. Another distinguished individual that I knew that was brutally murdered in jail after he was put in jail was another doctor of medicine, Dr. Masi Farhangi. Dr. Masi Farhangi was a beautiful, gentle individual. He was the gentlest kind of person that you could see, and he was the kindest man that you had ever seen. And he was very close to my father, and my father really loved him, and he had come to our house several times. So he had, when he was put in jail in Evin prison, for the time that he was in prison, he took care of the sick, even in prison, until they brutally killed him. And then when they killed him, they wrote on his body, the enemy of God, Baha'i, or something to that effect. There were so many. I do not have the photograph of many of them. The other person that I have his photograph was a wonderful young man at the time, and I knew him. That was before 1974. His name was Mahmud Mub, and he was a very learned man, a very gentle man, a very kind man, and very educated man. His education was in law both in Iran and abroad. I believe he had higher education was in Sweden. And this is among what has remained from him. His writings about particularly about the different teachings of the Baha'i faith, on the importance of auxiliary language, the history of auxiliary language, the question of oneness of humankind, what it means, the question of search for truth and what it means, the question of how religion should be a cause of love and affection according to the writings of Baha'u'llah, and how if religion becomes a cause of enmity and hatred among the humankind, not having it according to the writings of Baha'u'llah is better than having a religion, which the only thing it promotes is hate and disharmony among the humankind, and so on. So this is a collection of his writings that his wife, after she escaped the brutality and left Iran, she was able to bring all the collection of his writings and have it published in Europe. Among the other fascinating individuals that I knew were some of the members of the first National Spiritual Assembly of the Baha'is of Iran, who were kidnapped by the Islamic government of Iran, and nobody came to know what happened to them. They put them to death somehow. Among them was Hushain Mahmoudi, who was a most jovial kind of a person, and he was a a member of National Assembly, and he was also an authority in the Iranian TV for children programs. Another one was Mr. Shah Wali, a brilliant man, a lawyer, and quite a well-known individual who was also a member of the National Assembly. Yusuf Qadimi, with whom I had served on the National Teaching and Pioneering Committee in Iran when I had the honor of serving on that committee when I was in Iran. And he was a brilliant man who knew several languages very fluently, including Arabic and Russian and English and French. It's just unbelievable how knowledgeable he was. And also an amazing sense of humor and a beautiful person. And so he was also put to death. Another very knowledgeable individual in the faith was another Doctor of Medicine, Dr. Naji, was also a member of the National Assembly. And also I knew Mrs. Baha'i Nadiri, the most beautiful woman. She was beautiful both inside and outside, and just amazing woman with serenity and kindness and gentility. We had been to their house several times, and they had been to our house several times. Another distinguished individual was Kamaluddin Bakhtawar. Kamaluddin Bakhtawar was a knowledgeable Baha'i who had written was the author of several books, and he was an amazing teacher of the faith. So whether people who came to his what we call firesides, to the gatherings, was hostile to the faith, or they were there to investigate the faith, he never lost his cool, and he would sit there for hours and hours. And I had the pleasure of being in some of these sessions myself, and just listen to him and see how brilliant he was and how ready he was in discussing these issues and in responding